have the leader of the Israeli advocacy movement, and then you have a former IDF fighter, yeah?
Of Israel.
Whatever, you are working with the IDF, yeah? Alright, no problem. I'm happy to have you here. Thank you very much. Okay, so for me, she was talking about the history not being relevant. This is why because I've let you speak for about 3 minutes. You have. What I was going to say to you is that why I personally believe that the history is incredibly relevant. Forget about Israel, like you said for a second. Forget about forget about this whole Zionist thing. Forget about it, yeah? Let's pretend we're in Speakerscorner in 2100, yeah? Well, 2100, or let's say 2080, and let's do a little counterfactual history right now. Yeah, let's do a little counterfactual history right now. Yeah, let us pretend that the Islamic State, or what they call themselves the Islamic State, Daesh or ISIS or ISIL or whatever they are, they were able to establish themselves a state. Let's just pretend for the sake of argument. And now they've got their own infrastructures, they've got their own parliament, they've got this and that and whatever. Someone he's now born into the Islamic State, and now this is fast forward to 2100, comes over here in Speakerscorner, and he's making the case for the legitimacy of the Islamic State. He starts saying, look, the Islamic State, yeah, expelled the Yazidis and these things, and he starts making excuses and these things. He says, however, you know, what is history doesn't matter anymore, because history of the past doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter.
That's what you did say.
No,
so history doesn't matter
this
anymore.
argument is irrelevant anymore because
fine.
both have
just
history
saying,
which
in
means
the
it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
we
it doesn't
want to solve this now. We're
Whichever way you say it.
Rotem, if your great-grandchild spoke to that person's great-grandchild who's saying that the Islamic State is a legitimate state.
I'm saying I'm tired of burying my family, and the other side is tired of burying their family
no
as well.
problem,
and in 2008, we offered 94% of the West Bank.
I haven't got a problem with what you're saying. I'm just saying something else.
You want to make
But listen, Rotem, we might be youth, right? But I'm just speaking here generally about a specific counterfactual history. I want your opinion on it, right? Your great-grandchild or your grandchild or your daughter, she's having a conversation with someone else who's now part of this Islamic State or they were born in it, yeah? Or
you know what? If it was 200 years ago, I would say you stay. That's why exactly I don't come to Poland or to Germany and ask the Germans to give back my grandfather's house.
Okay, excellent. So the Islamic
But
State...
that's not the case in Israel. My family has been in Israel since the Second Temple.
No, that's fine. Now I've understood your point, right? Your point is, so long as you win a country in war...
No, she's not saying that.
Fine.
She said her family has been there for 2,000 years.
That's fine. That's a fair enough point. If you believe in that, then you...
That's not
No problem. I accept. If you believe in that, that's not a problem. What you say then is you don't say, I believe in a democratic or a liberal logic. You don't say that.
I'm not saying that at all.
So
you're talking about the rights of indigenous people. You're saying the Palestinians are an indigenous people. Yeah, that's what most Muslims will say. Yeah, she's saying that Jews are also indigenous to that land. I've got a friend, a very close friend of mine.
What we're going back to?
No, I've got a friend of mine from Gaza. They lived there continuously until 48 when the Egyptians kicked them out.
The
Egyptians kicked them out in 1948. Yeah, when the Egyptians conquered Gaza.
I thought you were talking all the way back to the ancient
not fair.
I know you guys do that.
That was a different religion.
Go ahead.
Different rulers, but no, the Egyptians kicked them out, yeah, and they had to go and do it wider Israel. All we're saying is, she said she supports a two-state solution, so she supports the potential for a Palestinian state, yeah? Why can't...
Is that what you support as well?
So I'll be absolutely honest, I used to be 100% for a two-state solution.
What do you support now?
Now I have, whether it's a one-state, two-state, 29-state, I just want peace. And whatever's going to bring peace about, that's what I support.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, I got from a family
that's an
that
easy
died.
thing to say. I hope.
No, it's not.
I come from a family that buried their son. I need to, every year I visit my
family.
A Jewish family. And I have Muslim friends that bury their family as well. I go to my dad's grave, my uncle's grave, my friends' graves every single year. And I am tired of it.
Okay, fine.
We are sick and tired of it.
But
We tried
with
making...
respect, Rotem, with respect. Like if we could...
And I agree with you. There are families that lost their dear ones on the other side as well. And
it's not. You've made, with the greatest of respect, you've made the Palestinian casualty, respecting to the Israeli casualty, the exception and not the rule. The rule is the Palestinian casualty, and the exception is the Israeli casualty. If you look at the amount of casualties in the two intifadas, there were of an excess of 10,000 people in two of those.
You want to talk about the casualties of the German experience in the Second World War?
That's nothing to do with the Muslims.
No, but if one side attacks the other, then if the other side is stronger, other casualties on the
So
other
what's
side will
World War
probably
II and Hitler got to do with the Palestinian extreme?
Okay, let's just say Hitler was bad, right? He attacked England, right? He attacked England, right?
Okay, yes.
Right? Correct?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, my English is not as good.
No, it's good. Go ahead.
England fought back, right?
Okay.
Correct. So
Yeah,
right?
yeah, all right.
Killed a lot of Germans, right?
Killed a lot of?
Germans, England, right?
okay, yeah.
Germans also killed a lot of English,
Yes.
but England killed more Germans than England, right?
England killed?
More Germans than the
I haven't looked at the
killed.
stats. I haven't looked at the stats.
More or less.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, go on.
Some innocent died, right?
Some innocent.
On both sides, right?
I go back.
But still, Brits killed more Germans because the Germans attacked, right?
Okay, go ahead.
Now I feel sorry for every single person that was born in Gaza, lived horrible lives with horrible government, corrupt government.
What government
And
are
I
we
do.
talking about?
But
The Israeli one?
no.
12 years
Hamas.
there haven't been an election there.
So do you actually
Let me
believe
just
that the
finish.
Israeli
Let me
government?
just finish.
Good, sorry.
Okay? I was in Beersheba when we signed a ceasefire, and then 10 minutes later there were 14 rockets fired at me.
Okay.
If one side
Those
dropped
little rockets
its
are
weapon,
fireworks.
if Israel
There's little
dropped
fireworks
its
that kill
weapon,
people.
How many people have they killed
It
compared
was
to the
not
original?
fireworks, honey. I was there. I saw the fireworks next to me.
They're small rockets. They are small
Listen,
rockets.
There's
They're
rockets
handmade
that
rockets.
kill people.
This is the disgrace of the conversation because you belittle Jewish suffering, Israeli suffering, Israeli Arab and
It's
Jewish
not
and
even the
Jewish.
suffering part. It's if
I've
Israel
just
dropped
said that
its
the
weapon,
rockets
we
are
will
not
all die.
comparable.
And if
When you-
Gaza stopped fighting
when you've
and
got-
wanted to
when
talk,
you've got-
the war will be over.
What we're talking about is a disparity in the military capabilities of two places.
We're not, because you make the mistake. You think it's just Israel and Palestinians. It's Israel, Iran, Syria. You've got major.
Do you reckon
problems.
Syria and
It's
Iran
not
are
even
involved?
that.
It's an Israeli-Arab conflict.
Do you
We've been
reckon-
outgunned and outnumbered.
Depends on what you're
It's not
talking
even
about. You're talking about the
military.
recent period.
No.
We're talking about the fact that
You're talking about Hamas.
Who gives Hamas the weapons they're
terrorists
using?
What do you
She was
want
dead
to
like
Who gave Hamas the weapons that they fired at her? Who gave Hamas the weapons that they fired at
Let's
her?
leave other countries
So
aside.
Yeah,
first,
Iran,
are you
it's
talking about
Iran.
Syria and
Let's leave that
Iran,
aside
but
for
not
a
anymore.
moment. What's your name?
Not
again?
anymore.
What's your name?
Mohammed.
Oh, nice to meet you.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
Let's not
Go
talk
on.
about other countries. Okay? Let's talk about Israel.
More reparations.
Okay? Not Iran, no
We
Iraq.
will not to embarrass
Iran
someone.
and Syria are not funding Hamas now.
You do not to
Do you know who was
embarrass.
funding Hamas in 1980?
So this is an
No,
age
no, no.
of...
Do you know who was funding Hamas
You're
in
going to say the
1980?
Israeli government?
Yeah, the Israeli government.
Yeah,
Can you show us the evidence?
Well, she accepts the evidence. Do you know the reason why they were funding them?
No, you tell us.
Because they saw the PLO as the biggest threat. You see,
Why is that funny?
I find
No. Why is that funny?
Let me find that interesting. Let me tell you why I find that really interesting. I find this stuff incredibly interesting because, you know, depending upon the particular time period, the narrative changes. In the 1980s, you were more concerned with Arab nationalism than you were with Islamism. So now, it has to be the bad Arab, and today it has to be the bad Muslim. So the idea is this, that the
So
Israeli,
Hamas aren't bad?
the Israeli government, no, I'm not saying that they're not
Hamas is for
bad, no, we do condemn the actions that they do, of course, yeah? Like blowing themselves up and these things. I don't accept that stuff. But what I'm saying to you is,
They're making people work to
but
build
what I'm
tunnels.
saying to you, generally speaking, is that the Israeli government has not been consistent in its policies, morally consistent. It's only been strategically consistent, in the sense that it only funds those parties which it sees is beneficial to its own cause. You've had the time to speak. So you said you can show me videos. I've just showed you a video of two Israelis.
And what's happening now in that case?
IDF shooting a target which is unarmed.
And what's happening?
And then in that
You say unarmed, I say I don't know. What's happening in
You
that
don't know.
instance?
Okay, well,
No, but what's happening in that instance?
He's getting shot.
No, afterwards. What's
They're
happening now?
laughing.
No,
They're
now,
laughing.
today, what's happening now with Israel about that incident? There's an investigation, there's a military investigation into what
nothing is going to happen,
from the
basically.
idea.
Nothing's going to happen.
Okay, no problem. So what I was going to say to you is, the narrative I would like you to pay attention to is the narrative that says that upon Israel's inception in 1948, up until this period of time now, just a simple looking at the map of the Palestinian territories, we'll see a constant shrinking of the Palestinian territories.
Beautiful.
Hold on, do you mind if I just allow you to
I'm having a hard time.
And that has been, for the most part, gained either through war and or through the settlements that are being put now in the form of Israeli settlements in the West Bank and other places. My point to you is this. My point to you is that isn't it patently clear to you, isn't it very, very obvious for you to see that from the beginning when you had things like Plan Dalit, where you had government documents, and they still exist to this day, that show that the intention of the Israeli government was to wipe away as many of the Palestinians as possible up until this point, so as to every once in a while, every 2 years, 3 years, bombard the most densely populated area in the world of civilian population, which is Gaza, bombard it, knowing full well that this will kill civilians. Isn't that clear to you? And then causing that place to be seized, such that you can't even bring things into it, and it takes certain things out of it, and a medical situation there has become dire, and the food situation has become incredibly. It's at the height of. It's now on the verge of being a humanitarian catastrophe. Don't you say that all of that, when you look at it completely, indicates to you that there is a problem in the policies of the IDF and the Israeli government?
Okay, so can I respond and fact check each one of several of the points you made? First point was you claim that Israel's borders have been expanding.
Not expanding. I didn't say
you said Palestinian land has been shrinking.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Israel has actually given away 70% of the territory it once held.
So
Did you know that?
That's not what the map shows.
No, it's exactly what the map shows.
What are you talking about?
Okay, so you don't know. Sinai. Israel.
Sinai was never Israel's in the first place.
Oh my gosh! Okay, so let's go through law. Let's go through the history of the conflict. Let's go through the history.
We don't need to go through the whole history. You said Sinai. Sinai's part of
This
Egypt.
is why I don't like arguing. People dictate the term. I respond to what you say, and then you say I don't want to talk about that.
Joseph, now come on. You don't have to get overexcited because here we're having a diplomatic discussion.
Okay, so let me respond. I know you're trying to patronise me and calm me down. That's how it feels.
You are getting angry.
I'm getting animated. Yes, I'm not getting angry.
Okay, but you don't have to say, oh my god. I'll let you talk.
Say, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Just tell me at any point, at any point, if you want to talk.
I'm sorry if my volume is offending you. But can I just respond to my point?
No problem.
I'll quiet it down.
At any point, if
I
you want to talk, I'll let you talk. But I just can't finish one point, right? Now we know the two conflicts in Egypt, the 1967 conflict and the 1973 conflict, which amounted to obviously Israel taking part of Sinai away and then giving it back in 1973. I wouldn't consider, you're saying that Israel, see here, it's the fallacy of equivocation. You said here, Israel has given back 70% of land. What he means to say is that Israel has given back 70% of land that it never owned in the first place.
How do you think states are born, Mohammed? How did the Islamic Caliphate come to stretch?
No,
listen, because it's a very important point. How did, say, the Mamluks or any of the different caliphate, how did they come? I didn't know that.
There was ones in Egypt and ones in
so how did they come? How did they come to expand and have so much territory? Because they acquired it in conflict. In most cases, states are born out of conflict. Yeah. And borders are defined by war, and the victor sets the border.
Well,
Israel. Let me finish because I let you finish.
Yeah.
Israel was victorious in wars that it did not start, and Israel acquired land and exchanged it for peace. It gave back the Sinai Peninsula. It gave back Gaza. It gave back parts of Lebanon. It gave back the parts of the West Bank. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. And all of the parts of the West Bank.
So go through the list again. Get back Sinai. Yeah. Which never was part of Israel in the first place.
How were states born? How did Britain come to have its born? How come Scotland is part of the UK?
Well, hold on.
No. It's a straight question.
Okay, so there was an Act of the Union in 1509 or whatever it was.
So the British and the Scots were fighting for a long time, yeah?
There was an Act of the Union.
No, but were the British and Scots fighting for a long time?
Whatever it was.
States are born out of conflict. Most of the
It wasn't a war that made Scotland part of the UK, by the way.
The British and the Scots were fighting the Jacobean
Wars.
Wars.
There was no war that led to Scotland being part of the UK.
How come the British claimed to be in there?
But there was an Act of the Union.
Fine, I hear what you're saying, but was Britain and Scotland fighting for centuries?
Okay, so look, your point here is a bad example. Okay, I understand. You're talking about there was a time, okay, where, for example, certain countries were born out of war. Okay, I'm not saying that this is going to happen. And by the way,
always happens.
Yeah,
That is the history statement.
Okay, no problem. But what I'm saying to you is that what premise are you going with? If you're, do you believe you're a liberal Democrats.
No.
Hold on, please. Joseph. I'm asking you a simple question, please. Do you believe in liberalism and democracy?
So I would consider myself to be more of a libertarian, but yeah, I consider I have some liberal values.
So you believe in
and democracy certainly.
Fine. I believe if you are true to a liberal framework from a philosophical perspective, you cannot say on the one hand that okay, I believe in liberalism, and on the other hand say, well, states are born out of war. Because then the counter argument will be, yeah, that's a reality, but it's not a morally acceptable reality from your perspective.
So stop defining what I believe, for one. Jewish exceptionalism is what you're talking about. No, you're saying that all the other states are born out of warfare, but it's immoral for Jews to use that same barometer, use that same measure for themselves. No, you're saying that if I think...
No. Here's the difference, right? When we had the League of Nations collapse and then the UN start, then you have the international laws. So you've got 2 or 3 different departments here. You've got 2 or 3 different dimensions. You have your own philosophical framework, which is liberalism, and democracy is from your perspective. And then you also have international laws. International laws which stipulate...
I don't accept the United Nations.
Okay.
So it's a different conversation. The United Nations just nominated Syria to be in charge of chemical warfare, whatever it is.
We all have our...
Saudis in charge of the Human Rights Council.
Me personally, I have my own reservation for the United Nations, no problem. But what I'm saying is that you can't say you don't accept the United Nations on the one hand, and the country which you're an advocate for, which is Israel, is not only part of the United Nations, but is a shaping country in the United Nations.
It's the one nation that is continuously...
It's the one nation in the last 100 years which has had its country, maybe not the one nation, but it's one of few nations in the last 100 years which has had the benefit of being defined as a country because of the United Nations. So it's interesting that he's saying...
I disagree that...
Joseph, you said it yourself.
No, that's not what I said. I said the United Nations voted to recognise...
There was a resolution in 1947.
The United Nations does not have the legal power to create nations.
I understand, but in 1947 there was a resolution. From that resolution was begotten Israel in 1948.
So
had the resolution not taken place, then Israel would not be here.
What do you believe that vote was? Just so we can understand if we're talking on the same term.
So from my understanding of history, throughout the 1940s and 50s, sorry, 1940s, the early 1940s, mid-1940s, there was this constant pressurization that the Zionist lobby was putting on Britain, to the extent whereby in 1943, I think it was, who was the guy in charge in 1943?
Churchill, Roosevelt.
No, it wasn't. It was what's his name?
What we're talking about?
The guy from Labour.
Attlee.
Yeah, Clement Attlee. He promised at one point the what do you call it? The Israeli state, yeah. And then he took a step back from that. At which the Israelis or the Jews got very, very angry. And then he referred it to a mandate to Palestine. So Britain referred the case to a mandate to the United Nations. I apologize. Yeah. So they referred the case to the United Nations. After when Britain referred the case to the United Nations, in 1947, that's when the revolution took place, and in May 1948 is when Israel was born. So here, what we're saying is, you're saying I don't accept the United Nations. The irony of that is, you're saying you don't accept an organization that actually had it not been in existence, had it not put in the resolution, Israel would not exist in the first place.
So do you believe the resolution brought Israel into existence?
I believe that without the resolution, Israel would not have come into existence in May 1948.
Okay. So I think we're saying the same thing. I believe, so I'm just going to say what I believe, I'm trying to answer. My understanding is Israel came into existence when they declared independence. The United Nations has no power to create a nation. That's not its function.
I'm not saying it is.
Yeah, what they have the ability to do is to define global consensus. And at that point, there was global consensus to recognise Israel, and Israel declaring independence is actually
what about the global consensus that we should have a Palestinian territories?
So, again, you're looking like you got me.
No, I'm just wondering because now you're...
I've never said. When have I ever said there shouldn't be a Palestinian state?
Pardon?
When have I ever said there shouldn't be a Palestinian state?
Okay, so you do believe in Palestinian
So I
state?
just said my outlook for the solution. My solution is that I don't know whether it's one state, two states. If the Palestinian state,
You're fumbling all over the place.
Let me listen.
You don't know what you believe.
If a Palestinian, no, I'll tell you what I believe. I believe the two-state solution from the bottom of my heart with incredible passion until I actually started visiting the West Bank and realizing the reality of what that meant. Article 6 of the Palestinian National Charter says that any Jew that wasn't living there before the Zionist conquest, which most legal experts interpret to mean 1917, will be driven from the land, will be thrown out of the land, yeah? So you've got 500,000 Jews living in the West Bank, not ignoring Jerusalem, which you consider to be an international city. 500,000 Jews living in the West Bank.
What does the UN say about it?
What does the UN say about it? Just finish my point. 500,000 Jews living in the West Bank will be ethnically cleansed. If a two-state solution means making 500,000
I don't
Jewish,
know how you can say ethnically cleansed.
because they're cleansed because they're Jewish.
By whom?
By the Palestinian National
Come
Army.
on.
They were living in peace before.
Listen. Can I make a point without you like patronising and talking down to me?
Under the Palestinians.
Let him say what he wants to say. Go on.
There are 500,000 Jews living there. The Palestinian National Authority, in Article 6 of their national charter, state that any Jew that wasn't living there before 1917 will be thrown out. They're thrown out.
Palestinian National Charter?
The Palestinian National Authority's charter, Article 6. Google it. Anyone can look it up.
What are you talking about?
So the Palestinian National Authority, the PLO, had a charter which they reconfirmed in 1967.
Hold on, are you talking? Because here, look, this is the kind of equivocation that causes me to be confused.
Okay.
Because your initial criticism was not to the PLO. You had a long discussion about Hamas.
I'm not singing the praise of the PLO. I think the PLO are a treacherous organisation.
Okay, fine. So what's the issue here?
The issue is that the PLO, or the National it's now Fatah, have explicitly stated that they will, what I consider to be ethnically cleansed, 500,000 Jews.
About ethnic cleansing.
Yeah.
No, but that's
what do you call removing someone from a land based on their religion?
But hold on, because here, this is something which actually academically has been written about, and this is something a term that has been used in conjunction with the Israeli operations. So hold on, because I find it really interesting, right? That you're using the term ethnic cleansing.
That's what would happen.
In conjunction. Hold on, it's not what you can't predict the future like that.
No, that's what the charter. You can only go by what Article 6 of the charter says, and anyone can Google 1967.
No, but hold on. You and I both know international politics doesn't work in that way, all right? You don't understand the basics of geopolitics. That if you had, for example, a Palestinian state with Jewish people in it, the moment such ethnic cleansing could even be conceivable is the moment all of the foreign powers will be involved.
That's what already happened when Jordan conquered the West Bank. They ethnically cleansed the Jews.
No, this is not correct.
That's absolutely correct. Jordan enacted a law which forbade Jews from being citizens of Jordan, which is why you have no Jews living in Jordan today, and you have no Jews living in Palestinian Authority-controlled areas of the West Bank, Area A.
What is ethnic cleansing?
Okay, if you've got an ethnic minority, or they can even be a majority, you have an ethnic group which is driven from a land because of their ethnicity.
That's not cleansing.
That is, you're confusing genocide if you're going to say killing. Genocide is the slaughter. Ethnic cleansing is driving someone from the land.
Not necessarily. You can combine the two themes.
Okay, fine, but I'm talking about ethnic cleansing. The definition of ethnic cleansing is driving people from a land based on their ethnicity.
You've just made a claim that Jordan ethnically cleansed
the Jews. The Jews. When Jordan conquered the West Bank, they enacted a law which said that Jewish people are forbidden from residing or having citizenship in Jordan.
No problem.
Which they then
so that's what you consider ethnic
Can I just
cleansing?
finish my point? Can I just finish my point?
Yeah.
Jordan conquered the West Bank. Britain recognised it. It said the West Bank is now part of Jordan, and they banned Jews from living there. The Palestinian National Authority, the PLO, continued this prohibition, which is why to this day there is not one Jew.
So if you consider that ethnic cleansing, so now you're saying a restriction on the Jewish mobility in and around the West Bank area is tantamount to ethnic cleansing?
No, I'm saying the reality today.
Is that right?
Irrespective of whether you think the Israeli Jews should be in the West Bank or not, the reality is today they're there. And if you believe, can I just finish?
Yeah,
if you believe that the moral solution to the problem in the Israel, West Bank, Palestine, call them what you will, if you believe the solution is to create 500,000 Jewish refugees, that's ethnic cleansing and it's not moral. It's not a moral argument.
Well, now you're creating a straw man.
It's not a straw man. That's what would happen.
If you believe, that's a conditional that has no relevance to my position.
It's the Palestinian National Authorities Charter, the PLO's Charter, which was reconfirmed in 1967, explicitly states this is what they're doing. This is not a straw man.
You're going back a good 40 years ago to make a point about what a charter says.
How many Arabs live in Israel?
How many Arabs
live in Israel?
You can tell me, man. You're the Israeli.
Yeah, there's over 1 million, between 1 million and 1.6 million.
Okay,
somewhere
good.
within that range. 20% of the population are there. How many Jews live in Areas A of the Palestinian-controlled territory in Gaza and the West Bank?
Is that how you create?
No.
Why do they need to live there when they've created settlements there, my friend? They've taken the land over. What are you talking about?
They refuse. They're not allowed to live in the land.
No,
the Palestinian is a continuation of Jordanian law. The Jews aren't allowed to live there.
I want to ask you a simple question. The settlements that are being built now in the West Bank, what is your stance on them?
So that's how we started the conversation. Perfect. And I asked you to define what are the borders. If you can tell me what the borders are, I'll tell you what my position on the settlements are. I tell you. Okay, so for me, there are no borders. That's the problem.
Okay. Now we understand your position. There are no borders.
Yeah. So what are the borders?
So is Gaza not part of it?
No. So why are there no borders? Why don't you be clever? Why don't you ask me why there are no borders? Spooky.
No, go ahead. What do you mean by that?
So what I mean by that is the 1949 armistice line. Do you know the difference between the pre-67 border, the Green Line, and the 49 armistice
line? The Golan Heights and these things in addition.
They're basically the same thing. And so the 1949 armistice lines are the agreement with Jordan.
Yes.
Yeah. And so the agreement with Jordan was a temporary ceasefire, yeah? Both Jordan and Israel categorically stated at the time of making the truce, this is a temporary ceasefire, yeah? East Jerusalem, West Jerusalem never existed. There was no such division as East Jerusalem or West Jerusalem, yeah? We can agree that.
No, we can't agree that. Listen.
No, we can't
Hold on. I'm not talking about Jerusalem now, because you've gone into a minutiae. We're talking about the generic.
East Jerusalem, you said the whole term, East Jerusalem and West Jerusalem.
What do you mean there's no borders?
The whole agreement between Jordan created East Jerusalem. It created West Jerusalem. It created the West Bank. What's the West Bank of? It's the West Bank of Jordan. The East Bank is Jordan.
My question to you is, you've just made a statement that there are no borders. My question to you is, what did you mean by that statement?
Okay, so that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Go ahead.
Israel and the Palestinians have never agreed to borders.
So what does that entail? What does that mean?
So it means that they have to sit down and negotiate what the borders are. And
okay, hold on. Now we know, okay, as Thomas Hobbes says, covenants are but words. If they're not backed by swords, that's what he said, yeah? We know that in a situation, from an international relations perspective, where you have a stronger power versus a weaker power, in this case, no doubt, Israel represents the stronger power.
No, Israel is the weaker power. It's surrounded by Arab states that want to destroy it.
No, wait, no, they're not. No, they are not. No, they are not, bro.
Really? So
yes,
Israel...
Yes. No,
okay, we'll just do a quick little Muslim count. How many people here would like to see Israel gone tomorrow?
Hold on. Joseph, please. You're not an ignorant person, okay?
Thank you.
Egypt do not want the Egyptian government.
Thank you for the clarification. What about the Egyptian people?
Forget about the Egyptian people. They're not in control of anything.
No,
the military. Listen carefully. The Egyptian people are not in control of the military complex, nor are they in control of the government. The Egyptian government cannot be said to have a stated objective at this present time of wanting to destroy Israel.
And why is that?
Because they're in alliance with the Americans, who are in alliance with Israel.
No, but what it was actually before the alliance between the American, who negotiated peace? Who negotiated
1973.
No, but who I think was like
Sadat.
Yeah, exactly Sadat.
Okay. So here, anyways,
Begin.
Yeah,
and they negotiated peace, and they gave away land. They gave away land.
It's not their land. Sinai was never
okay,
part of
we're going round in circles.
No, but you say give away land.
If you attack me, yeah?
Yes.
You attack a nation and you lose that
war.
Lose the land.
Hold on. I like what you just said there. If I attack you and take your hat, which is a nice hat, yeah? If I attack you and take your hat, and then put it on my head, yeah? And then afterwards I give it back to you, I say I'll give it back land. I'll give it back to you your hat.
If you launch an attack on me and take my hat and lose your hat in the...
Listen, no problem.
I mean, it's not going to happen. You're a big guy. I can't even reach your hat.
No problem. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. Although the option is always available for MMA. One thing
I'm going to say. Why do you guys always call out Tommy Robinson for violence? You stoop to his level. You're like, I'll fight you MMA. It's wrong. You like, be a bigger man. I mean,
we're just using it. We're just using it to get views and subscribers, which we've achieved. Anyways, I was going to take a step back now and say to you, listen, it depends on the premise. I haven't got a problem with what you're saying. In fact, let me be completely honest with you. if you say to me, I believe in not just war theory, I believe that, you know, whatever, like, you know, you take the land, you win in war. So fine, if that is your premise, that you take the land that you win.
I'm saying that's what's happening in history.
No problem.
Yeah.
That's a morally acceptable premise. If that's your morality, then you have not contradicted yourself. Do you understand? Because you're saying that if the situation is that you take the land which you win in war, then ISIS is justified. No problem. You and ISIS, and you and, let's say, the Native Americans have been expelled from their land and genocide has
How was
happened.
the Rashidun Caliphate? Is that, did I pronounce it right?
Yes,
how,
yes.
How was that born?
The Khulafa Rashidun.
Yeah.
Expansionism.
And how did they acquire that territory?
No,
With swords.
What I'm saying to you, listen to me carefully. Yeah? I'm saying to you, now this is another equivocation. Why? I am saying if you believe, right, in a war, in the land that you get from war, if you believe in that theory, yeah, no problem. Yeah, you can say that. Because, however, I would put to you, even then, that the way Israel was born was not through war. It hid behind the colonial master of the United Kingdom, who then assigned that land to them.
Well,
so it wasn't your war that you won.
The last time we spoke, what did we speak about?
What?
We spoke about the King David bombing, yeah?
Yes.
Does that sound like Britain was the colonial power supporting the Israelis? Britain refused to vote in the vote. Refused to vote in the UN.
Sorry. Tell me what you mean by this.
So there was an underground force in Israel that was basically the Irgun that were fighting the British, for Jewish independence, And so at that time, Britain wasn't supporting Israel. When it came to the vote at the United Nations, Britain wasn't supporting Israel. When do you think Britain was supporting?
It oscillated. No, in my opinion, it oscillated.
So when were they supporting?
So, for example, there were times like we said, I think it was Clement. It was Clement.
I don't know what you're going to say.
But no, it was Neville Chamberlain.
Neville Chamberlain?
Yes.
That was before the war, mate.
Yeah, it was before the war. Neville Chamberlain, he wrote in a white paper in 1935. Okay, 1935. Check if I'm right. So right, Neville Chamberlain. See when he was in power. Neville
Stanley Baldwin.
Neville Chamberlain, 1935, produced a white paper. The white paper said in it that the Jewish people were going to have their own land. Yeah, that basically that. Is that right?
37 to 40.
Okay, so it might have been like, when was the white paper?
Which paper? The Peel? There was lots of white
When was the white paper? No, the one?
1936 white paper.
Yeah, it was the 1936.
Which limited Jewish immigration to the mandatory Palestine. That was the white paper.
So that is when it oscillated from. That's when it oscillated from the whole Balfour thing to the white paper.
So you're saying the white paper was okay? I can agree with that.
So what I'm saying is that the British policy, it oscillated between promising Israeli, or not at that time, but Israeli, Jewish people land, and promising sovereignty and limitations of immigration to the Palestinian people because they saw that they were the majority, like in the white paper. Yeah,
Churchill was the one that wrote the white paper. It was Churchill.
No, but then that white paper was repealed. And then afterwards, after all these terrorist attacks took place, the Urgun and these things, that's when you had, when did the King David attack happen? 1946. So the King David attack is not a coincidence that the King David hotel attack happened in 1946, where this underground, you would call them terrorist organization, yeah?
No, I wouldn't.
Really?
Yeah.
So Urgun, a group of people that went into a hotel and killed 92 civilian individuals.
No, not
There were 92.
No, it was a military base.
But it was English people.
It was the headquarters of the British military power.
So you're saying that's okay?
No, I'm not saying it's okay. You asked me if they're terrorists.
No, okay, exactly. No, hold on. This is very important now because here this we're getting to somewhere. Yeah.
So okay.
Begin.
Begin. Yeah.
Begin.
Killed three sergeants, I think.
Exactly. Listen. Begin. Begin. How you say his name? Yeah. He was the leader of Urgun. No, he was part of Urgun. Yes, he was. No. Begin. He orchestrated a terrorist attack. In my opinion, we call it attack. Forget about the word terrorist. We're not going to use that word. In 1946, right before the mandate was referred to the UN, yeah, for the British mandate. Sorry, the resolution.
Yeah.
Okay. He went into King David Hotel They went into the basement of the hotel. Forget about it, they called them, they didn't call them.
They did call them.
Well, no problem, they called them, they didn't call them. The Jewish library says they called them, yeah? I read it. I read the Jewish library, the Jewish virtual library. I saw their account. Begin says they called them. Whatever, no problem. They called them, they didn't call them. In whatever case, they went into the hotel and 92 people died because of the barrel bombs that they put in place and the shootings that happened, okay? So, who were killed? Some 27 Palestinians were killed and the rest were British people, yeah? Working in that hotel. It wasn't, okay, some Jewish people were killed as well. So I don't understand, because this is the thing. That's why I've come to you. I feel like sometimes you do have a bias. I come to you and say to you, do you consider that this was a terrorist attack? You're saying that they're not terrorists. Why are they not terrorists? Because you know what the interesting thing is, sorry, just to add to it, that this same Begin, in 1946, who orchestrated this terrorist attack and who allowed 92 people to be killed, it was the same Begin that became the Prime Minister, became the President or Prime Minister of Israel in 1948.
I am so grateful to Allah for having guided me to Islam. Sadly, I am the only Muslim in my family. It hurts me that my parents haven't accepted Islam yet, and I ask Allah to guide them. But it also gives me a special drive to work for the establishment of Islam. I don't want anyone to miss the chance of becoming Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ said that the Muslims are like one body. If you can feel my pain, would you please help me relieve it? You are now my new family. Click the link and donate to establish this masjid and share in the reward for the message of Islam reaching the corners of Norway.